Hello and welcome to my channel, and if this is your first time here, my name is Millie and today I'm going to be doing my first ever anti haul. This is going to be for the month of May and I'm going to try to do this anti haul once a month. Unfortunately, I just can't do it once a week or every 2 weeks. I just don't have the time, but I think once a month is totally manageable. Plus that way I can pick from all the makeup releases for the entire month. So I'm going to talk both about more mainstream releases as well as indie releases. And as I was looking through both the pages, I honestly felt like there wasn't that many releases. In general, like the number seemed pretty low. I kept scrolling and then realized that I was actually looking at releases from April that I thought were in May for some reason. So there's not a lot to get through, which is probably a good thing for my first anti-haul video. Maybe take it a little easy and just dip my toes and see how it goes. So the first makeup release that I'm anti-hauling is the ABH Nordine Volume 4 palette. And while I think the color story is very beautiful and Millie 5 years ago would have loved this palette, now I definitely have all these shades. I don't think this is anything special, and it is that really large heavy plastic palette, which I have the other three and I absolutely love them. But the reason I love them so much is because they're so colorful, so I just feel like I wouldn't get much use out of this. I'd rather go for my other palettes. And I saw a lot of people commenting on the bright yellow in this palette, and I actually think it looks really nice in the palette. I think it would be fun to pair with some of these pinks and purples. However, I do feel like it feels a bit out of place and kind of like it was just placed in there to add a little bit more excitement into the palette. I totally think when I cover it up with my thumb in the photo, I totally think it could have been without it, and it definitely looks less bright. The other thing is I did watch I think 1 or 2 videos of people using them, and something that really bothers me is that there's no really like deep matte shades. We got, I think E4 looks pretty deep, but and then maybe kind of B5, but they don't look deep enough to be deepening up the outer corner. So that's kind of really a bummer. I feel like you could only really create like one-dimensional eye looks with these, but I'm probably not the target audience for this palette, which is fine. So I'm just really not feeling it, and also I'm just really confused on what's going on with this whole Nordine sub-brand of ABH. I feel like that was just really awkwardly sprung upon us as consumers, and from the way that I see it is that Nordine wanted to do more colorful palettes, more colorful kind of products that ABH would not necessarily get away with, because ABH as a brand has built up a specific type of consumer that would not really want that kind of stuff necessarily. And I don't think they wanted to tarnish that for the brand. They didn't want to like completely switch over their consumer demographics, and Nordine is known for doing like more bright and colorful looks. But honestly, ABH has kind of fallen off for me ever since they did that huge PR surge, and now they've started taking people off the PR surge, and that could be like a whole different conversation. But that just really rubbed me the wrong way. It just seemed a little shady, and also the whole collaboration with the MLM, and Nordine pretended like she didn't know what an MLM was, and it was just really weird. So I'm not gonna be like decluttering and canceling them, but I got my eye on them, and so far they haven't released anything that's like super exciting for me that would make me wanna buy from them again. Next we have Nars, and it's the Orgasm X collection, and can you please let this collection die? Like, this theme has been so done over and over again, and I feel like they're just clinging on to the one thing that really made them popular. At least that's how I learned from Nars. At least that's how I learned about Nars and got excited about Nars, because back when they launched the Orgasm Blush, everybody was loving it, including me. I totally got sucked into it, and it was actually my first ever high-end product. And now looking back at it, I'm just like, why? I would honestly never wear that. It's been at least 5 or more years that they started this, but it needs to stop. They just need to put this whole orgasm thing into a vault and put it away. Like, please do something else. Please do something else to be exciting. The competition is real, and I feel like some of these brands are really feeling it, and that just has not piqued my interest in a very long time. But it would be nice to see that they're trying. But right now it just seems they're like washing and rinsing the same thing over and over again. Next up is a BH collection called Weekend Vibes. And there's basically a bunch of food themed and even drink themed palettes, and I'm just also really tired of food themed things. I think it was fun while it lasted, but it's time to move on. We have the avocado toast, we have mimosa, Belgian waffle, and Bellini. And honestly, I've never really been into BH Cosmetics. I think I might have gotten something from them a long time ago. Was it the Curly Bible collab? I think it was that. But ever since then, they haven't released anything that I just really was dying to buy. From my experience with the Curly Bible palette and from just seeing swatches and people use their palettes, the formula seems pretty cheap, which explains why the palettes are so cheap. But something about these palettes just looks like, oh, this is a really fun cover, but then the inside is kind of dull. Like the avocado toast looks kind of a little grungy, not really like summery, and these look so private labeled to me. They look just really cheap. And the Belgian waffle and Bellini palettes look like they're blush and highlighter. The Belgian waffle palette is super light, and again, it just looks so like powdery and boring. I don't know, like the covers are kind of cute, I guess. I mean, it kind of looks like it was designed by somebody in high school in a graphic design and advertising class. So those are kind of my thoughts on that release. Next one is the Incredible Juicy Pear, and they're boob and butt sheet masks for all skin types. There's different kinds of butt and boob skin types, so I honestly don't even know what to say here, except for this is super gimmicky, and this is literally just to be like cutesy, and I just doubt that this will be effective in any kind of way, shape, or form. And I used to love sheet masks for my face, but honestly, like just having something like wet and soppy and cold on my face, especially in the winter, was not something I was about. And in the end, a lot of those have alcohol in them to make your skin absorb what's in the masks. And after using so many different kind of sheet masks, I just really never saw a difference, except for my skin feeling super tacky from the sliminess that was in the sheet masks. And this kind of reminds me of the Givemeglow glitter face mask, where that was literally the only purpose of that mask was to take cutesy pictures at sleepovers and post them on Instagram and Snapchat. Is that still a thing? Is Snapchat still a thing? Oh, those were the good old days of Snapchat. So this is kind of similar in that sense, where it's just so gimmicky that it has a more like fun purpose. And the novelty of it, even though I don't think, at least I hope not, people will not be taking pictures with these masks on and putting them on social media, like the Givemeglow mask. But this is such a hard pass, honestly. No. Two more mainstream brands and then we'll move on to some indie. So this next one is the Too Faced Tutti Frutti family. And we got the Papaya eyeshadow palette and strobing bronzer, Toasted Pine. These are just like the other ones that they released. I think there was a purple one and a green one. Was it purple and green or orange? I don't know. And so this is just like an addition to that. And Too Faced is just one of those other brands that keeps trying to add onto collections that they already have. But it's just like, enough. Please, like, do some brainstorming sessions that come up with some other concepts. Anyways, this palette looks super bland. It actually looks like one of the shades right in the dead center. Like in the photo that they're kind of hinting that it's like a duochrome when it has like a sparkle in it or something. Don't see any swatches, but it leads me to believe that it's going to be kind of duochrome shade. Either way, this is super light. And then the highlighter or strobing bronzer is super shimmery. I just feel like at this point a lot of people have very similar shades to these, and I'm actually really curious if people are actually even buying this stuff. Like, are they releasing more because people are buying the other stuff? And since we're on the topic of brands that keep extending collections that should have been dead a long time ago, we have the Urban Decay Ultraviolet Naked palette. Please stop trying to make naked happen. It's been long enough. You need to think of another word to use in a eyeshadow palette. This again to me seems like a struggle and a really tall reach to try to get back in the saddle of being one of the most exciting and sought after brands. I see them trying to add purple and make it kind of seem like this is a really exciting, fun, a little bit more, you know, not so neutral, a little bit more experimental palette, but I'm just not buying it. The look that is on the model looks really pretty, but I can do this with so many different palettes at this point. I actually never had the Naked palettes, the 1 and 2 and the 3, I think, those super neutral ones, and I'm so glad I didn't spend $52 on those. So not worth it. But I did buy the Naked Heat palette because that was the first one that really excited me, and I believe I bought it on sale because $52 is just so ridiculous for what it is, and also really bulky. So I don't think there was anything wrong with the Naked Heat palette. I've decluttered it obviously since a long time ago. The formula seemed fine, but since then I've tried so many different brands and so many indie brands, and I just think that their stuff is so much better. I will be really surprised if this is something people will line up to buy, because I sure as hell am not. So now let's move on to some indie stuff. I only have 3 things. The first one is the Givemeglow Spicy Collection, and I was so bummed about this. They were sneaking the cover of the palette, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be such a fun color story. It's literally orange, yellow, gold, copper, and red. Some of these shades look pretty close to each other, and I just don't understand why a chili pepper is only red. It doesn't make any sense. And actually Julia K. March and Faces by Gina did like a little mini challenge on Instagram where people created their own version of the spicy palette, and there's been so many beautiful palettes made that really blow this one out of the water. It just really makes me wonder, and I'm actually kind of curious if the brand has seen this hashtag, because I feel like it probably makes them a little upset. But maybe that's good because they see that people really want a different variety of colors in a palette, and just because it's one theme doesn't mean that it needs to be one color theme. And to this day I also don't know if these are smaller pans or if these are the larger pans, but to be honest, I have a couple of mattes from Givemeglow. I decluttered some. I've only kept 2. I actually used Wink in my crease today, and I just don't love the matte formula. The shimmers are really, really stunning and beautiful, but the mattes are just really not the greatest. And for me to have like big pans of a formula that I don't love, just ain't it. I'm gonna have to pass on this one. Such a bummer. Next up we have the Juvia's Place Wahala palette, and this was sneak peeked with the cover like a year ago at least, and then all of a sudden it's just like popped up and they were like, we're releasing this and it's limited edition and it's only available right now. But I think they're restocking it since then. It just sold out so quickly. A little bit disappointed. I totally get, and I think it's pretty, the whole separation of like the colorful side and then the kind of cooler tone side. I think that's super nice. There's also a possible multi-chrome in this palette, which intrigues me for sure, but it doesn't look like it's as like shining and reflective as some of the other multi-chromes that I have, so I would not buy it for that. Also, there's glitter in it, and this palette is $36. For Juvia's Place, that's way too much. You can always find codes, but even then, even with a code, that seems like a lot, and it makes me wonder if it's the multi-chrome, but also there's glitter in it, and I know glitter is super cheap to make, so it's like $36 for 3 pans of glitter, which is super cheap. And so I thought this would be one of those palettes that would end up being on sale for $15 a couple of months from now, but since it is limited edition, we'll see. I have a weird feeling that it's gonna end up not being as limited edition as they lead it to seem to be. My memory card got full, so I don't remember where I left off. No, I was talking about the Wahala palette. Last thing I wanted to say about it was I did see some reviews, and some people kind of liked it, some are not huge fans of it, some seem to think that the mattes are not the greatest. So definitely passing on it. And the other thing that was really weird is that they came out with only 1 arm swatch, and also it was like an artistic swatch, so you couldn't really necessarily see the colors per se. I love really fun custom swatches. I do them, but I think that if you're releasing something, you need to post much more realistic swatches and then kind of supplement with some of those more like fun swatches that are a little bit more custom. So that was really strange, because it's like, how am I supposed to buy this if I can only see the shades in the pans? So that was definitely a bit strange. Hopefully they won't do that again in the future, because a lot of people were not happy about that, understandably. And then the last indie product launch I wanted to talk about was LookSee Beauty Ice Cream Social Collection Part 2, and it's only 4 more shades, and it just launched. LookSee is that brand that only posts when they have something to launch, and it bugs me so much. Also, I feel like some of these shades I already have from Divina. For example, Rocky Road, I feel like that one looks a little similar to something I have. Yeah, and I also haven't heard the greatest things about their like new formula of some of their shimmers. I'm not sure about the mattes. I don't remember if I heard anything. But also, if I remember correctly, I did go on the website just to like peek at it, and these were selling for $3 each, which is so insanely cheap that it makes me really question it, and I'm really curious to see some reviews and see how people are liking it and what the longevity is, especially on hooded lids. But also, I just have these shades from Divina, and they don't seem that exciting. I was definitely not really excited about this launch. I'm really wondering what they're going to do in the future, because so far they seem to have kind of fallen off in terms of being excited for any launches. I just want to see them be more part of the indie community and just talk more and interact with people, repost people using their products. So I'm going to keep an eye out for future releases. And my eyelash is popping off, so that means it's time to end the video. For some reason, I have so much trouble with getting lashes to stick to this pastel liner formula. I don't know what it is. I don't have this issue, I don't think, with the Silva Beauty, but they just do not want to like stay on these pastel water activated liners. So these were all my thoughts on some of the makeup releases in the month of May. Let me know what you think of Anti hauls, if you liked this one, if you want to see me continue doing these. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post a lot of different indie content, multi-chrome content, anything shiny, eyeshadow palette reviews, and multiple looks, and so much more. So I will leave up some videos up on the screen in case you're interested in staying around and hanging out with me just a little longer. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.